Hey Shiz family, it's Andrew here. I hope you've been well as always. You might hear I have a little bit of a rough throat. I've come down with something, probably running myself too ragged. I've been going to so many Stitch events, up and down the New South Wales coast. I went to Melbourne. I've met so many people. I'm having too good a time. Is that possible? Have too good a time? Thanks to everyone who's come out to meet me. You'll be seeing some videos that we'll be sharing on the Stitch YouTube channel. If not, if you haven't seen them already by the time you watch this video, I don't know. But it's been such a wonderful experience to be out meeting people. And that's the theme of today's video. I'm going to be talking about 2027's, yes, that's right, next year's Big Stitch trips. For those who don't know, our Big Stitch trips are part of what we're working on for travel on Stitch. Now, if you can't afford to travel, that's fine. We're still working on this travel page to allow people to find travel buddies, to do things locally at whatever your budget suits. But one thing that we are finding is working really well for the community is we choose one or two every year, what we call Big Stitch trips. And these are these big organised group trips for Stitch members to go to a destination. Often it's been on your bucket list or my bucket list for a long time. And it's an opportunity for us to have an experience that's life-changing, not just because of the place we see, but the people we meet and the people we form friendships with. Because even I was surprised by the experience of the first Big Stitch trip was down the west coast of the US, and bringing a whole group of Stitch members. It's not just like going on a trip with people who are there for the destination, but they're not really interested in meeting you. Getting a whole lot of Stitch members together who really understand what the Stitch family values are like, understand what it's like to be welcoming and friendly, but most importantly, they're there to make social connections. It was the most vibrant, most fun trip our guide had said she'd ever been on. And certainly I would say the same. Really, really wonderful. And it's been great to see so many people who went on that first trip, then booked a trip in 2026. And I'm hoping more will come next year as well. It's really just amazing. And you don't need to take my word for it, by the way. You can check out some of our blogs, articles, and interviews with the members who've been on them. But it really is special. So this is something that we're doing more and more of, or we're planning on to do every year. And next year, we are going bigger and better than, oh my God, it's already blown my mind how excited I am about it. Do you want to take a look? All right, so as I say, we've planned and already put up on the website our trips for next year. And the most important one, the Big Stitch trip, is our very first river cruise. We started with our Big Stitch trips being a partnership with a travel provider called Trafalgar, one of the world's leading experts in coach tours around various different locations. Beautiful buses, they're well organised, all that sort of stuff. But we already found two things about that. One is you can only get a certain number of people on a bus, and it can be, you're going from place to place to place. So it can be like really full on, and we would like to actually have some of our trips be just a little bit maybe slower paced and more relaxed, so give people more chance to see some things. But more importantly, as I said, you can only get so many people on the bus, and we'd like to have an opportunity for more people to come. Island sold out, so a lot of people missed out on coming. We don't want people to miss out. So for 2027, we are doing a river cruise up the Douro River in Portugal, from Porto all the way up into Spain briefly, and then back down again, going to little villages and hillsides and eating amazing food, countryside, history, culture, you name it. It's going to be fantastic. And what's great about a river cruise, and I don't know about you, but any one of my friends who's ever gone on one keeps boring me senseless with how fantastic they are, and I've always wanted to go. And it's because you turn up, you get on the boat, and you unpack once. But unlike a huge cruiser, it's manageable. There's only 100 people on the boat, maybe even less. And so you can get to know everyone. You have your own cabin, so you've got your own private space. You can relax when you want to. But when we turn up at one of the little villages, and off you go and you wander with a friend or on your own, or you've got a lot of free time to explore and just see the countryside. There's activities organised, side tours, stuff like that, if you want. But if you don't want to, that's fine too. All food's included, all drinks are included, and we've got a gala event, we've got entertainment on board on some of the nights. It's just everything. And then you go to bed, wake up in another town, and you explore that as well. It's so low stress, so easy, and so great as a way to get everyone together. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. Let's take a look at how we find it. So if you go to the Stitch homepage and click travel at the top, you'll see at the top of upcoming trips, well, you'll see the ones for this year coming up. And that includes Sicily, which is about to kick off. We've got Mystical Island coming up, which is sold out, or maybe there might be one spot left. We've got our Stitch Together conference in Bath in the UK, which is almost sold out as well. So that's fantastic for this year. Next year, the first one you'll see is the Portugal and Spain River Cruise. And so you can click in here and you can see this is my first announcement about it, but we put it live on the site quietly a couple of weeks ago. Excuse me. And we've already got 37 people sign up to go. So this one I'm absolutely sure is going to sell out. So if you are interested, get your interest registered. You can register your interest for free, which means you're not making a commitment, but you're on the mailing list for any notifications and announcements. You can pre-register for $30 or thereabouts, and that allows you to nab your spot for a certain amount of time, or you pay your deposit. And we are, just given the uncertainty about what's happening in the world at the moment, we're giving deposits. What have we got here? We're fully refundable deposits up until the end of August. So if you would like to make sure you've grabbed your spot and you're locked in with a guaranteed place with no obligation until the end of August, you can pay your deposit and then you've got it. So let's take a look at what we've got. It's there's this map here that'll show where we're going from Porto, up inland from Porto on the river, and then back down again. That's that Douro River there in Portugal. And as you scroll down, you'll see all the inclusions and all of the itinerary, where we're stopping and so on. As I mentioned, all meals on the boat are included, or onboard drinks, except for the top shelf stuff. That's amazing. You've got your own cabin with your own shower. We've got welcome cocktail, gala dinner, onboard entertainment, all sorts of things, and lots of these extra optional activities if you want, because there's so much to do on this trip. You can read about all of the details, how it all works, and if you've got any questions, reach out to travel@stitch.net, and Louise from the travel team will help you out. I am so looking forward to this trip. I think it's going to be a great way to just experience what Stitch can be like, but also just in a very, very relaxed way, experience part of the world that I know has been on many people's bucket list for a very long time. Now, that's not all, because Europe, for many of us, a long way to go. And we thought, well, if people are going to be over there, we should give them an opportunity to make the most of the trip. So in addition to the big Stitch trip for 2027, we've added a couple of walks on something called the Camino. And if you are not Camino de Santiago, it is the pilgrimage in Europe, one of the most famous walks in the entire world. In fact, back in the Middle Ages, I think about 10% of Europe were doing this pilgrimage. Very, very, very steeped in history, a lot of culture, and there's lots of paths way to this town called Santiago I forget my naming here, Santiago de Compostela. And so there's walks that come from France, that's the French way, you've got the North way, you've got all sorts of different ways that converge on this one historical town that's beautiful. And along the way, you meet people and form friendships and really experience the culture. Now, we know that the Stitch community has a real range of budgets, and we wanted to come up with something that would suit a range of people. So rather than just picking one trip, we've got two walks. One is what we call the Relaxing 3-Star. So this is a self-guided, but you get a lot of information and assistance from a kickoff meeting to being met when we reach the final destination. But it's really well suited to a self-guided walk because there's just so many people doing the walk at the same time. But we'll have our own group, and when you get to your village, you get your accommodation, and the next day you start your walk again and stuff like that. So that walk there is aimed to be as cost-effective as possible so people can get that experience. It's also worth noting this walk does the last 100 kilometers of the Camino. And that means that anyone who does this walk qualifies for the certification to say, yes, you've completed the pilgrimage, the minimum for the organising body of the Camino, and you get a certificate and the stamps and all that sort of stuff. So check out the details. There's all the stuff here about what you get to visit, what you get to see, what it's like. Be mindful of it is a walk, so it's not going to appeal to everyone. It's not as strenuous. The very first walk I did with Stitch was the companion walk to Camino, which was the Camino Kodo in Japan. There are 2 UNESCO World Heritage certified walks in the world. Camino's one, Camino Kodo is the other. So the very first trip, I took a group of 10 Stitch members along with myself, Camino Kodo, and it was life-changing. Check out the blog for the videos and the stories and the photos, and just how the sort of bond that we all generated on that walk. Walking together is really amazing. It was quite a strenuous walk. The Camino is much more, particularly the French way, it's much more, it's not as hilly, not as mountainous, and it's more accessible, but you still have to walk. So check out the details about how far you have to walk each day and so on, and what's required, but it's all there. But the other walk that we're doing at the same time is a more luxury-oriented 4-star hotels where there's more, it's escorted. We get to cover 2 parts of the Camino. There's the northern route as well as the French route. We get to do wine tasting in Rioja, go to a bunch of towns that are, again, got amazing history, such as Bilbao, amazing art galleries and so on. And a range of options for how far you walk, ranging from, you see here on the first day, it can be 11 kilometers through to 21. So it really depends where and this one ends up in Pamplona. So this walk is longer, it's higher end, it's more inclusions, it's more food, cultural experiences and so on. And you cover more territory because you do both walks. You don't qualify you don't do that last 100 kilometers because you're doing a little bit over here, a little bit over there, a little bit over there. But both walks end in Santiago. And so we end up having 2 days as both groups together. So one of the walks is 13 days, one's 9 days, but both are timed. So we end up there at the same time, and we have some special custom organized events that will be put up for the Stitch groups, get to know each other and celebrate what an amazing achievement that we've done both. So we can see here that Dorota has put herself down for this one, and she's also on the Portugal cruise. So if you'd like to do the cruise and one of these walks together, they're timed so you can. The walks happen pretty soon after the end of the cruise. And it's just an opportunity because it's such a long way to go for some people that you might as well make the most of it while you're there. Of course, you can do your own travel as well. That's totally fine. So, as I said, I'm busting with excitement. I do speak Japanese, which is why I did the walk in Camino Kodo. I've stopped my learning of Japanese now because I've started learning Spanish. That's how excited I am about going on this trip. I would like to learn a bit of Spanish so I can get around and speak to people while I'm there. We've got the cruise in Portugal, but also a bit of Spanish and here, so I'm pretty excited. I do hope you consider coming. I understand, it's a long way. Some people can't make it. So if that's you, don't worry. In the future, we'll have ones closer to home. We'll rotate where we do them so that the airfares aren't as much. It's very hard. A lot of work goes in to making these things happen, and we need to cover our costs and so on. But if you can come, it'll be wonderful. It'll be a lot of shared experiences, and that's what Stitch is all about. So looking forward to seeing some of you on these trips with me, and making friends with both myself and others. And let us know. As I said, you've got to get in quick to nab your spot because they're going to book out, I'm sure. If I get to see you on the trip, that's fantastic. If I don't, I hope to see you at some point, sometime soon. In the meantime, make sure you get out to a Stitch event and brighten someone else's day just by you being you. You showing up is going to brighten someone else's day, so make sure you do that and look after yourself as well as someone else if you can too. Until next time, bye for now.